So I think it's pretty clear that Western video gamers owe Eiji Aonuma and Nintendo a deep and sincere apology. They owe them an apology not just for being so absolutely dead ass wrong about Tears of the Kingdom, but they should apologize because some of the things that they said about Nintendo and Eiji Aonuma and the people working on this were so disrespectful in the beginning that this was going to be a low effort, garbage tier game, just DLC. You've heard it all before. It was going to be one of the most dismal, embarrassing, terrible experiences that The Legend of Zelda has ever created. And the fact that people actually thought that and believed that in the West and repeated that ad nauseum in all these comment sections, made videos about it, talked about this grievance bullshit over and over and over. Yeah, you owe this man a fucking apology. And you owe this company an apology even if you don't like them. Because the reality is that, guess what? The Metacritic score right now for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is at a 96. And the only reason it's at a 96 is because one fucking cocksucking scumbag company, in order to be quote unquote different, gave it a 6 out of 10 because the game wasn't what they wanted. So they didn't judge the game on what was there, they judged the game on the fact that it wasn't what Nintendo has delivered with The Legend of Zelda time and time and time again in terms of making it exactly the same. That's literally why these entitled shitbag losers gave it a 6 out of 10. And we'll look at that because I'm sure that that's bound to come up. But this scumbag company gave it a 6 out of 10. They're getting absolutely roasted for it. But that's the only reason that it's at a 96 right now. Otherwise, it's getting hundreds almost across the board. I mean, there's some 90s and stuff like that, but people are absolutely loving this game. Look at this. IGN, 10 out of 10. GameSpot, 10 out of 10. Inverse, 10 out of 10. God is a Geek, 10 out of 10. Nintendo Life, 10 out of 10. Game Informer, 9.8 out of 10. Fucking Game Informer. The Sixth Axis, 9 out of 10. Screen Rant, 5 out of 5. Comic Book, 5 out of 5. VGC, 5 out of 5. The Gamer, 5 out of 5. Game Radar, 4.5 out of 5. Eurotrash, 4 out of 5. Open Critic, it's at a 97. And so, pretty much across the board, no matter where you look, this game is getting just tons and tons of love. Destructoid, is that really a 2 out of 10? Review. That can't be right. Is this like a parody? 1 out of 10? I don't know if this is a parody or something, but the point is, digitally downloaded. I don't know what that is. 9 out of 10. I mean, people are just giving it phenomenal reviews, and I think that is absolutely earned. And yeah, you got the Joe's Twitter when someone gives Tears of the Kingdom below 9. Here's the thing. If you gave the game a 6 out of 10 because you played it and judged the content to be a 6 out of 10, I would disagree, but I'd respect it. But that's not what that particular review was grading it on. They were saying, well, this may not be for fans of older Zelda games. That would be like saying God of War Ragnarok, that game is a 5 out of 10 because it's not placating old God of War fans that liked God of War 1, 2, and 3. Do you understand how absolutely mind-bendingly retarded that would be? If I came to you and said God of War 2018 and God of War Ragnarok are shit games because they're not like the old God of War games. They changed them. You know, the old God of War games, you have these huge temples, and you have these huge structures that you got to go in, and you have these, monstrous enemies. And in God of War Ragnarok, you don't really have enemies that big. Do you think that I would be a credible games journalist? Do you think I would be a credible commentator if I did that? Well, no. I get shit on, and we are in the process of trying not to get demonetized. Nintendo and Sony both often create Game of the Year contenders that define generations, games that are must-play blockbuster behemoths. Sony had that last year with God of War Ragnarok. Nintendo has this year with Tears of the Kingdom. Xbox, I don't know what Xbox could bring to the table. I mean, maybe if they were like, oh, here's Halo, Halo 6 or something, and it's actually really, really fucking good. Maybe. Other than that, though, I'm not sure what they can do. Um, oh, well, I have to scroll slowly because sometimes you can never tell. So yeah, you got it in a 96, and maybe we'll go over to Metacritic and take a look at that real quick. Metacritic, okay, and yeah, you see, it's at a 96, and so here's what I'm talking about. The mixed review right here. Actually, you know what? I think this is worth going over. A 60%. So they gave it a 6 out of 10. So let's take a look at this because I think this is important to understand. The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom review. These tears are salty. The follow-up to a divisive modern masterpiece struggles to cater to those who who miss its roots. So, in every way, Nintendo delivered on what people asked for. They're like, we want more story. They're like, okay, here's more story. They're like, we want more. We want more traditional Zelda, so they were given more traditional Zelda. You're giving Ganondorf. You're giving all of that, but it's not enough. 6 years from the debut of The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, and by the way, the only reason they did this was for attention, and we're giving it to them, which I think is, I mean, it is what it is, but we're gonna do it to clown on them, and we're not ever going to take this company seriously ever again. A genre-defining title launched on the first proper handheld console hybrid. Okay, is there anything of substance in here? Just as its predecessor came in the ring, pull. Um, how do you follow up on what many believe to be the greatest go all time? So here's the problem with this. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild sold more copies than any other Zelda game. In fact, it sold more than most Zelda games if you combined their sales numbers. So these people think that Nintendo should have gone back to the way that they have things before. Do you understand? I mean, just I talk about the entitlement of Western content creators and Western gamers. Do you understand that a whole bunch of people were brought into The Legend of Zelda from Breath of the Wild? In fact, it's not even close. We're talking like 3 to 4 times the number of the most popular selling Zelda game before, which was Twilight Princess. So you have at your fingertips a larger Zelda fan community than ever before. And these people think that the right thing to do is to go back and to make the game like when it wasn't selling and when it wasn't at its hottest. Now, I'm not saying that you abandon everything. No, in fact, they found a way to incorporate all these things together. But it is so obnoxious that this game is being punished because it's not what this person thought it should be. Not on the game itself, not on what the game brought to the table, not on the absolutely incredible technological advancement this game brought. I'm not talking about graphics. I'm talking about the fact that it's an 18, less than 18 gigabyte file size. It has that type of draw distance on the Switch. It's a marvel. It's a masterpiece. It's unbelievable. And so you're going to compare it. Too much work, too little reward. This is one of the most asinine, entitled things that I've seen. And it's all from this perspective of I didn't get what I want. Not judging the game on its own merits. Because clearly this person is fucking wrong. Objectively wrong. There's no question about that. Because if the game were too little reward for the work, well, all of these reviews would say the same thing. Because games journalists don't deviate unless they're trying to be like this person who's just utterly pretentious. We got 100. I mean, my God, it's going down the list. Though even the Washington Post, just hundreds. Now, I'm not saying that you have to call this game 100. I'm not saying that I'm gonna fight you if you don't give it 100. But what I am saying is that you have an obligation at the bare minimum to judge the game on what it does, not the legacy of The Legend of Zelda, not Breath of the Wild, but what this game does right. All the improvements and advancements and the story beats and elements, all the things, the technological marvels of this particular game. To judge it on that and that alone. This is a great game because, and we've all seen it, what they've chosen to add, what they've chosen to accentuate from Breath of the Wild. This is its own game, its own masterpiece. And we take a look down the board, and the review scores are incredible, except for as this Twinkle Toes cocksucker right here that decides that they're going to denigrate the game because if you didn't like Breath of the Wild, well then you're not going to like this. So doesn't judge the game on its own merits. Says, well, this isn't like God of War 1 or 2, which I liked. So therefore, this new iteration, this new thing, you're not going to like it. I didn't like it. It's terrible. I mean, imagine the fucking hubris. God of War Ragnarok, by the way. Let's see. God of War Ragnarok. Yeah, let's see. Is it the same? Is it the same outlet? No, the combat is beefy enough. So the point is, okay. So this criticism is not, hey, it wasn't enough like God of War 1 or 2 or 3. So this game, The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, is being judged on a metric that no other game is judged by. There is not a single other game where people are actively tearing it down because it's too different. Oh, Jesus Christ. What the fuck? Alright, we'll just scroll down here. Whew. I just think it's remarkable. By the way, some of this art is incredible, and that is really really funny. Let's see. 6 hours remain. Damn. 6 hours until it's out. I've already got it loaded and ready to go on my Switch. I got the digital version. I just gotta wait until the time and it opens up. Oh, nope. Let's see. Already. All right. So here we go. Let's take a look at some of the comments. Oh, games journalists will never not be embarrassing. You should be ashamed of the score. Why? Because A, you didn't judge the game on its own merits, but instead your entitled attitude that Nintendo owes you a game that you've played before. B, you did this for attention. Having played it myself, 6 out of 10 seems a little low given all of the extra content mechanics they added. Maybe 7.5. I mean, 7.5? Interesting. That being said, they again fail to understand what made the sense of progression, the mechanisms of dungeons. So, who the fuck is this? Oh, so just a random commenter. Okay, no, that's fine. I mean, they're allowed to have their opinion. I just think that it's really weird. It's like people want pretty Breath of the Wild, but that didn't fucking sell. We want pretty Breath of the Wild. It's like, no, you don't get that because you didn't buy the game. I mean, let me tell you something. If in the Wii era, in fact, let me pull up the sales numbers because you know what? I'm sick of you fucking whiny bitches talking about, oh, the Legend of Zelda sales numbers. And by the way, the sales numbers for the Wii U were comparable. They weren't exactly the same. The Switch has sold more, but for sure. But let's see. Let us see here, shall we? Let us see here. Okay. So in the NES day, we had the original Legend of Zelda sold 6.51 million copies. That is incredibly impressive for back then. You had the Game Boy Advance game didn't even hit 1 million. So in total, they're talking, 7.29. We got Zelda 2, didn't do quite as well. A Link to the Past did a little bit better. It did better. Well, not really, actually. I mean, this is a re-release, so the re-release definitely did better than the other re-releases. That's for sure. Link's Awakening, the one for the Switch did way better. Yeah, wow, it did better than both the other versions combined. Interesting. So Ocarina of Time, you got 14 million, but it's not really 14 million, is it? We're talking like 7.6 because these are years later. We're talking like a decade later. More than a decade. So Majora's Mask, 3.6, 3.36. So we're going down here. Twilight Princess, 8.85. This right here is the biggest game. And it came out on the Wii, which sold over 100 million consoles. And the best they could do was 8.85 million. And this is combined between the GameCube and the Wii. And the Wii U doesn't even measure up. Now let's come down here because this sale is pathetic. Skyward Sword, I love that game, but it didn't sell well. Look at how many people bought this game. Look at that. Look at these fucking numbers. Look at them. These are the games that the people are like, Nintendo has to go back to these. These are the games. 4.4 million. Oh, the Wind Waker is so great. It's amazing. Oh, Ocarina of Time, 7.6. That's the best, right? What fucking number is that? What number is that? Oh, wow, that looks like 29 million. And if you're going to tell me it's just because of the Switch, no. The Wii had comparable sales numbers. The Wii had over 100 million consoles sold. So this number should be comparable to this. Maybe not as much, but comparable. No. The truth is that what they were doing for The Legend of Zelda for years didn't work. As much as I may love the games and you may love the games, and I would rank The Legend of Zelda amongst the highest, beloved, highest rated games of all time in terms of my own personal video game lineup. The fact of the matter is that these games have not been home run sellers. And then they get Breath of the fucking Wild. And Breath of the Wild absolutely eats the lunch of every other Zelda game. Nothing is even in contendership. Ocarina of Time, 14 million with these combined. We're over 30 million. And by the way, it's still selling. Holiday. People are going to buy Breath of the Wild with Tears of the Kingdom. You can bet your bottom dollar this number isn't stopping. They're going to combine these two. In fact, I'd be interested to know they've got that coupon thing going on. You buy a $100 coupon, you get $70 Tears of the Kingdom. I'd be interested to know if people use the other coupon to download Breath of the Wild. My point here is that you telling Nintendo to go back and do what they did before, their answer is no, and it should be no. Now, does that mean that they should abandon all this? No. And they didn't. But sort of like God of War 2018 and God of War Ragnarok, Nintendo is rediscovering the identity of The Legend of Zelda, and you know what? It's a beautiful one. So you people that are whining and complaining and bitching and moaning, you're in the minority. You may be vocal online, but you're in the minority. There are millions of other people that disagree with you, that love this game. They may want a taste of the old Legend of Zelda, but they don't want the linear Legend of Zelda back. They want a Legend of Zelda that's more open, that has more freedom, more exploration, more thought put into it. This is one of the most expansive, brilliant, beloved Zelda games of all time. And now we've got Tears of the Kingdom, baby. Whew. I see a sunflare or something. We really saying all this? It attended there are significant performance issues. Yeah. Let's see. Even a great game is not for everyone. Anyway, I'm not going to go too much longer on this. I just wanted to cover this because, I mean, it's obnoxious, yeah. It's obviously for attention. The judging a game based, oh, it's not God of War 1, it's not God of War 2. Yeah, I want more, I want more titties and naked women and, killing those women like you did Poseidon's wife. It's like, no, that's not what these games are about. They change everything. They change Kratos, changes personality, changes look. I mean, really, God of War Ragnarok, in many ways, did something similar to Breath of the Wild in terms of redefining itself. Link used to be the green tunic hero. They changed the color to blue. They've changed a lot about the series. And you know what? I think it's for the better. Anyway, that'll do it for today's video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.